Yes, good evening to everyone out there in the Virgin Islands. I'm your host, Courtney DeCastro, and I have my co-host here with me, Sam Henry, and we're going to give you a wonderful show tonight. We're going to try to touch on some of the current issues in the community, and we're going to also bring some other things to the forefront so that we can start dialogue on some of the important issues like the white paper, budget speech, and government cuts. We're going to talk to this community tonight about the things that are affecting each and every one of us in this community. And we're going to have some lively debate, and of course we're going to have interaction with the public that this show belongs to, and a public that we respect, and so at this point I would also ask my co-host to introduce himself so we can get going.
Good evening. Welcome back to another week of Speak Your Mind. We want to encourage the viewing public again, early. Call in, give us your opinion. We're going to try to lay out some very important topics that happened this week. It's important that we stay current. We know that you guys have a lot of opinion. Some of you may have attended some of these workshops and meetings. You may have some concerns, some questions. You may feel a certain way about what happened, the result of what happened in some of these meetings. So we want to encourage you guys to just right now call somebody, to tell them to call somebody, and have everybody view us today. We know that there's a lot of you looking in, watching the show. You guys have some real serious questions. So we're going to try to facilitate some of your questions and help each other. Let's all help each other to answer those questions and find the right answer. So welcome back.
All right, thanks for that, Sam. Also, too, for those who are viewing on the web, www.jtvlive.net, you can also reach us through that portal as well. And of course, we're also going to have a wonderful show tonight. So Sam, I think one of the things that came up during the week was the budget speech, and you know that we have a planned budget, and we know that you know, revenue and expense. We have a revenue side and an expenses side, and we have it balanced. And I think at the end of the day, what is being proposed is that we're going to have a saving, a small savings that we're going to put into the reserve.
Yeah.
And
I thought Courtney, the budget speech was good, you know.
Okay, good.
There's some good austerity measures. The Premier and his team of people are going to put in place. Mm-hmm. But I still have, I think it could go a little bit further. Okay. So we can probably talk about some of that.
Okay. And then there's the other issue with it, I guess, which has to do with the cuts. You know, the various cuts. I think there was a 7% across the board cut, and we saw some of the people in the opposition. I think 2 people in opposition already speak out against an across-the-board cut, which really reflects that if I was going to get an increment, and my increment was going to be, say, $3,000, half of that would be $1,500. But if I was going to get an increment and it was going to be $100, then half of that is $50. And we know we have some civil servants where their base salary is around $16,000 to $18,000 a year. So I could imagine that some people would fall in that bracket, in the lower bracket that I was just talking about. So, you know, in our society, we just try to be balanced.
Yeah, definitely. Well, people are going to have to let us know how they feel about that.
They're going to have to let us know how they feel.
I think you're right. There are people in those different brackets, categories.
Yes.
And we need to know how it's going to be affecting you.
Yeah.
So let us know.
Yeah. Another topical issue we have on board as well is the white paper. And I understand that there were some meetings already set up to discuss the white paper. And I think that they're also talking about the existing white paper, that we have an existing white paper, which is an agreement with the United Kingdom government. And the new white paper would be something beyond what we have right now. But one of the problems, some of the people who spoke with me were saying that they don't know what's in the existing white paper, but it's an agreement. And personally, one of my feelings about the white paper is that we didn't use it as much as we could have. I'll give you a good example. The white paper spoke about more access to United Kingdom government departments, and I think recently we just had some movement in that area with sports. But I saw that as a opportunity to get services in our little small countries that a big metropolitan country have at their disposal on any day.
Yeah, I agree.
But that didn't manifest itself.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about the white paper.
Yeah.
One of the questions that was asked on this new white paper right now is transparency.
Okay.
There was some suggestion made that, based on what you just said, the fact that we had a white paper, since the 1990, I believe, or 2000,
Yeah.
we haven't really exercised half of what's in there.
Yeah.
And part of that reason is because the information is not available.
Right.
So maybe that's something that we can examine going forward. I know the suggestion was made that we need to be more transparent. Government needs to be more transparent. Need to have more information available to the general public, using all sorts of media. So I think it's important that we can move forward on that.
Yeah, caller, I think we just missed a call, so if you could call back, we appreciate it very much.
Yeah, we just want to remind the viewing audience that it is an open show.
Yes.
Most of our shows are open unless we have special guests. We want to focus on a particular topic. We don't want to censor what you have to say. So call us, let us know what's on your mind.
Yeah,
I know there's a bunch of things that's biting people right now, so let us know.
We just missed a call, so please call back. Yeah, one of the, as you were speaking and you're talking about the transparency and other issues, right? And openness of government. You make me remember that our Constitution 2007, that's also in place, and that's not, widely circulated or let me take this call and we come back to that. Yes, good evening. You're free to speak your mind. Go right ahead, please.
Hello, good evening. I'm commenting about the legislators and the comment from the opposition about the cut should have been across the board where increments are concerned. The funny thing is, they're only looking at the little guys in terms of those who are at the bottom base. But if you are one of those higher level civil servants who increments that is like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a year, if you had to pay a higher percentage, you would definitely be more upset than the guys who are lower down. It's easier for you to accept that you only pay 50% and everybody paying 50%. But if you tell me I have to pay 75% or 60% or 80% because I'm making more, I feel like I'm a bit down. I would feel victimized, and it's yes, it might seem unfair, but it's easier. It's a bitter pill, but it's an easier pill to swallow when you know everybody doing the same thing and everybody has to pay the same cost. It's like when you go to licensing, the license cost, the same one, so it's in the same grade. So the same thing has to happen across the board.
You don't pay the same for licensing.
Well, based on your class, that's what you do. If all we pay, if you all have an automatic or standard, you pay the same price for the class we're in. So you should pay the same. We should be paid straight across the board. All of us should have the same percentage.
So it doesn't matter if one person pays $1,000 more. You're saying percentage-wise, you think it's fair across the board?
Yeah, it should be fair percentage-wise because, okay, if I only make it, my step is only 100, right? Your step is 3,000. If I'm going to pay more than you regardless, but if I have to pay a higher percentage than you, I would be more affected.
Well, let me ask you this. How do you feel about the legislature themselves only cutting themselves $6,000 a year?
Well, a whole lot of things with the legislators are concerned, I believe need to be thrown out the window. I believe if the government would shut off half of those government cell phones and tag up those vehicles in the evening like they're supposed to, according to the general order, we'd save a lot of money on maintenance, on gas, and all those things that come with the long-term wear and tear.
So there's a lot of waste right there.
It's a lot of ways. I mean, come on, look, I give an example. There's some departments that have at least 20 cell phones to them on the CCT Unlimited plan. And that ain't necessary. Why do secretaries need a cell phone? You go home at night, if they need to find you, they can call you on your landline. What can be so important that you need a cell phone 24 hours a day?
Wow, that's it. That's very interesting though, that you put it like that. You know, it's something that definitely needs to be looked at. I know the Premier said that there's some other measures also coming, so maybe that's part of the next package.
But hopefully, because I personally believe a lot of money is wasted on those vehicles because a lot of gas, a lot of maintenance, and as you notice, we don't have the cheapest vehicles in government. We have some of the most expensive vehicles on the island belong to the civil service. All them aviators and them navigators and them Range Rovers, them things can cost a little bit of money to maintain.
Definitely.
Okay.
It's very important, Carla. Thank you so much.
So let me ask you one follow-up question. Do you think the service is going to stay the same, or we're going to have a little delay in receiving service as a result of the cuts? Since you seem to know a little bit more about the actual working of government.
Well, I don't know if the service will change. I think what needs to happen is, like, for instance, I heard somebody saying, oh, if DIP was in power, this would have never happened. But the fact of the matter is, if they were in power, they would have kept us running at exactly how we are, and then 10 years, not even 10, 2 years down the line, when the country completely broke, 75% of the service would have been going home. And then they would have been trying to trim the fat when it's too late. When you're in economical crisis, you got to cut before it gets too late. You can't wait till you reach rock bottom and broke to start doing something. You have to start trimming before you get to that point.
So, Carla, you're in support of you're in support of the cuts. You think they're necessary?
They have to cut. They have to cut. And if we honest with ourselves, the civil service have a lot of wasted employees. People who don't do nothing, people getting paid to do nothing. There's inefficiency. There's nothing. And for years I've heard people say, oh, government this, government that. The problem is not government. The problem is most of the time it's them civil servants. It ain't government. There's nothing wrong with the government. The civil service is a big issue. And there's a lot of wasted employees.
But Carla, you yourself know that some politicians have sent people to work in different departments.
Well, yeah, you know, they got the political favor. They're trying to buy votes, but you know, it's just the way.
So you don't see that is a
bad precedent, but it's what they do.
But isn't that a way of inflating the the government employees?
I quite agree. I think they need to start sending people in various departments to work. I think they need to look for more qualified people. One of the things they need to do is they need to start doing some across the board measures that if you're qualified to do more than one thing, it might be, and if you can do more than one thing, it might be feasible to pay that one person to do more than one thing, that they have 3-4 people doing 3 different things that they can do properly.
All right. Well, I guess you're speaking your mind.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your call.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it.
That's so
Sam.
stimulating.
That's stimulating. We heard someone who said government waste is high. And that's W-A-S-T, waste. And it's high. And talk about the number of cell phones that are populating the government service, and the vehicles and the gas and the maintenance. Those are all high items as far as I know.
I mean, when you think about it, if you were to check 100 phones that government have, some of these workers that are using the phones that are not necessarily job-related or work-related, when you add that bill up at the end of the month, it has to add up to hundreds of thousands of dollars of wasted money. And government have to pay that bill. So maybe, you know, those are the kind of things that the government, I hope we're going to be hearing about pretty soon, some of those cuts too.
Well, another one of the things that you kind of mentioned earlier, and that was you're talking about transparency and access. I think we need to see more what I call e-government. Good evening. You've reached Speak Your Mind. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Courtney.
Yes, sir.
He was an architect.
That's right.
A fire architect. something need to be done with town and country planning. I believe half of them man need to send home. They have a house right down here, Hanos, from last year, April. They come in and stop the job.
Okay.
The plan was passed, but approved. The guy didn't bill the same time. He billed a year after. They come in and stop it. Down to this day, almost another year, you can't get the man approved to go and continue his house. They stop Patsy Lake, they stop Dr. Bully husband, Fred. This thing is a joke. Okay? A lot of men walking about, and every time a job come up, they're stopping the job and all over the place. This thing got a thing for a joke. This ain't a joke. They need some of them that to send home. They got to victimizing people.
Okay.
Wild man walking about hungry. Something need to look at their apartment. Something going on there.
Okay.
Serious. And I think Dr. Smith need to look into it and get rid of some of them. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, caller.
That's a call concerning the Town and Country Planning Department, and
Well, that
along the same line that we were talking about, the efficiency, transparency. You know, we
yeah, but I think he touched something that's very significant. It's
Okay.
about growth. It's about job employment.
yes,
You know, he's talking about the jobs being
development.
stopped. You
Yeah.
know, if a job is being stopped and you had 20 workers on it,
Yeah.
you know, government is losing, the employers moving, taxes, you know, and so forth. So that's an important thing he just mentioned.
Yeah.
And construction is part of our GDP makeup.
Construction is one of the hardest hit right now in our economic recession.
Yeah. So I think it's important.
It's taking the blunt of most of the problem right now. And I think any effort, any small effort to try to turn that around will be welcomed by everyone in our community.
Yeah, because it's one of the fastest way to stimulate your economy.
It's one of the fastest
You know,
ways to
we have a
stimulate
lot
the
of people
economy.
here in this country that
Yes.
are laborers and, you know,
and tradesmen.
tradesmen.
And tradesmen as well.
We got to do.
And
We got to do something.
And we have a lot of local people who are also in the
Need
construction industry, and some of them haven't been working for months. For a year. So one guy told me he didn't do a job for 2011. You know, so I can understand that, you know, the construction industry is very important, and I think we will have to follow up on that and ensure that something is done in that area.
Yeah. The caller should definitely follow up on that. I
Yeah.
think the caller needs to start a letter writing campaign with other concerned viewers, you know, because whatever people are feeling,
Yeah.
these different areas are affecting their livelihood.
Yeah, the
And it's something that has to be done.
the particular issue that he mentioned about is a house in Hannah. They have a policy in the Town and Country Planning that if you get a plan approved, it's approved for according to the law for a period of time, and if you don't bill within that period of time, then you have to reapply.
Resubmit.
You have to reapply, and it's a lengthy process. It's an expensive process. And I think it's probably something that the government should probably revisit or look at in light of the hard economic time that is right now. Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, that's one of the things that I think when you're in a recession, you know, it calls for some people to step up and do some things that you wouldn't normally do.
Well, we got to get the economy moving.
You have to get the economy moving.
You know, the government campaign on, you can't just sit still and say the worldwide recession is holding you
It's
back.
holding you back, so they have to-
I think a lot of the stuff that the government is now proposing
Yeah.
are measures that will be taken to help improve the economy within.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
they said if you don't get no outside investment, you got to stimulate it from inside
From
out.
on the inside, yeah.
So this is something that needs to be looked at. If you're going to expand the airport, that's construction.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that, you know, your local entrepreneurs, builders, people who looking to build buildings to provide jobs and opportunity, that they also can go ahead as long as they. And I agree with the government, as long as they're within the regulation.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to have anybody break the law. Don't go out and break the law and then say the government shall allow you to do things
Right.
that you know is against the law anyway. I mean, that's another side to this. So we could support the people, but at the same time, what did the law say?
Yeah. We have a couple of texts. Let me see if I could get to a few of them before we get another call. Talk about government fees for certain services that are very low, ridiculously low. That's true. The person that sent that text, that's a very true text. We have some government services where they haven't raised the fees in the last 20 years. And it's uneconomical to do what we're asking the civil servants to do.
There's also areas where government fees, for example, iPad, which should be a computer, you're paying full 21% or 20% import on it. That's something also needs to be looked at. Anything that can help somebody progress, you know what I'm saying? Food, you know, electronic devices, I think should be looked at. It should have a lower fee. And then, you know, if you have government departments that need to have a higher service charge, then yeah, go ahead and do that. You know, I personally think when it relates to you know, custom, immigration, when people are leaving departure tax, I think our departure tax is too low.
Okay.
I really think so.
Yeah. I see another text that said, hello, Courtney, good to see you, but whatever good or bad Mr. Maduro will miss. Okay.
Thank you, caller.
Another text, the fear of not being re-elected keep politicians from making sincere attempt at austerity measures. That is so true. I agree with last caller. Government vehicles should pack up after work, and the cell phone have to go because they use these phones to do not only government work but personal stuff. The next one coming in. I have no problem with the cut. I'll come back to that. Good evening, you've reached Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah. So the Castro.
Yes, sir.
Well, that again, you is an architect. The government in this territory only good for certain people. They don't have a serious revolution in this country. Because the big shot could do what they want, and the small fellow can't do nothing. When I talk one see and one no. When I talk on them say.
Okay.
They had a flood last year, and that flood opened up all of us eyes in the BPI. We bond with them God. There's nature, and no one have a right put no concrete over a God. If you go there by Bobby Cineplex, they have about 8 columns down in a gut and a beam, and they pay the parking lot to make parking lot. Now it's wrong. It ain't no way in the world people just put columns down in a gut, because they know whenever trees come down, anything come down, it don't block it. The gut by Dario to Nessie, I work on that gut. What they ever built in the BPI. They got slabs. And every morning, the white man come from public work. He said, look, make sure you got a measurement on the top. Because those slabs making the public work yard, if they're falling, somebody going to jail. That's why he said to us, every morning he come. Now the let Bobby, you make parking lot back there. It's not wrong with making parking lot. But put beams across and put slabs. And you could get back home, lift them out, and clean them. That's the way God's supposed to build. They're going to draw a set of people in person. We have got a guy there. And they're going to draw a set right there by Bobby Cinemax. The last time, Scottish Funeral Home flood, International Motor flood, all the people on the other side of the flood. The water kept down to because it got blocked. And if you want a joke, you go in and look under the bridge, you see the closing the bridge for 2 or 4 feet. Now, that's highway ignorance. When the rain starts to fall, the water comes from up them hills, it don't drown somebody below. I want to go into town and let that bridge has never flood yet. Then the water get go straight to the sea. Now they put a set of column down in it. And do it. Look what I do in front of the market. In this modern time. They got a big wall down in the middle of a gut. Them public workmen want to sit at home.
Why you said public work man wants sending home? Are you sure that public works did it?
Well, we want to do that job there. Waste the government money, then you send it home.
Okay.
Well, the government themselves allowed them to do that because the government employee at the time, or the government representative, was there and allowing them to do that. They were the one who approved it. And I agree with you, it was crazy.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. I had a fellow named Pollock. When I was a little boy, he built 5 bridges in Tatola, 1956. And they're still there. The same one by UP Cineplex, one by Nessie. They gave Ishmael a job last year just for elections, to break it down to give you a job. One in front of the Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall, one above Fix It, and one by the radio station. Them bridge built 1956, and they're still there standing up strong as anything. And they ain't got no column in it. And you tell me the modern times where architect and engineer, you ain't got column in wall long and gut. They set up people on drum. Okay, thank you. Courtney, you know what I'm talking about, use an architect.
Thanks for your information. Thanks very much. Yeah, well, it seemed like we get to this part of the show, Sam, where we have to take a break for the sponsors that make this show possible. We're going to take a break now, viewers, and we're going to be right back with you.
Hi, I am Tanisha Harrigan-Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price plan from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local Digicel numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbbi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're right here with you, right back after the break, and we're still here with the hard questions, and we're still here trying to provide some of the information to our viewers that we know is vital and important. The last caller that we had, we spoke about the blocked guts. Is really a problem that we're having, and it's something that I think we probably need to look at from an engineering point of view, from a technical point of view, from a moral point of view. There's no sense, I think, us throwing stuff in the gut from upstream and thinking it's just going to disappear. Whatever you throw in the gut upstream is going to go all the way to the sea. That is one of the problems that we have. And the other problem, as the caller rightfully point out, is we can't design guts to minimize the flow. We have to design guts to either maintain the flow or allow a better flow. I am of the opinion that when these things are being done, we should have public review. Public review, what I mean is if you make a design to improve a gut out of public funds, then we should be so transparent that we come to the same public who is paying for that gut and show them not one, not two, but at least 3 or 4 schemes and say, well, you know, the reason for this scheme is because we're looking at this for 5 years and it's going to cost $5. And the reason for this other scheme is is for 20 years and it's going to cost $200,000. And the reason for, you understand where I'm coming from, Sam?
Absolutely.
We need that type of dialogue with the community. Or else you're going to find politicians in a situation where they're going to have to make decisions with little or no time. We have a call, so I'm going to go straight to it. Good evening. You're free speaking mind. Go ahead, please.
Good evening again, Mr. De Castro.
Yeah.
See, I have a comment about this gut situation. I think one of the things that we do where these guts are concerned, the infrastructure and the whole in the BVI, it's that we have been, it seems to me, and based on my, because I do work in the field, based on my experience, a lot of what we are doing is applying old standards, and we're not keeping up with industry standards. That's one problem. Where the guts are concerned in the BVI, these gut paving projects will never work. None of them will never work. Why? You cannot control the gut when it gets to the bottom of the hill. If you want any sort of active results, you have to do something to the gut while it is in the hill. Because when it comes all the way down to the bottom, and gravity is carrying it, and it has to force, and it has acceleration. At that point in time, that's physics right there. That's not rocket science. You can't do nothing to the force of the water once it gets down there. So if you're not giving it free passage to go, it's going to find a way to flow. One of the things I think we need to start doing here, which will cut down on a lot of different things, is that we need to start employing some methods where we could build water catchments in the hill, hook up reservoirs to them water catchments, get a filtration system and start using our natural resources so that we won't have to worry about places like by water, erosion, conversion, not being online all the time. We have guts in the BVI that don't run dry at all. Hot tub gut is never dry. Any time of year you go, you see, even if it's a little trickle of water coming up from hot tub gut. So we need to start getting to the source of these water and building catchments, like I said, hooking up reservoirs, and then hooking up filtration systems. We are not the only countries in the world who will be doing that, because New York lives off of two huge rivers. That's what that is what the supplying New York with all its water. Two large rivers, and a gut ain't nothing but a river that don't run all year round. That's it. It's the same kind of water, the same type of thing. Then another thing that we need to do here is we need to find more cost-effective ways in terms of construction. Everything the government does in the millions of dollars, every single thing. And I spent some time in the United States. The figures we the cost of projects again, of course, our construction will be higher because we have to import everything. But the figures will be pulling for construction down here. If the United States spent $45 million on a hospital, that whole entire block would have been the hospital. All of that Navarro would have been a hospital. Not just that little thing where we got up in the hill and we still can't get finished. So we need to really start to look at our numbers. We can't keep spending money like it ain't gonna run out. It's gonna run out if you keep spending it like that.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I would have to agree with you that we need to manage our natural resources a bit better than we are doing right now. I think the number of the catchment area is a good idea. Closer than where you were speaking about, right in St. Croix, they have catchment areas in the hill. So it is something that is workable, and it's something that is manageable.
But there's a lot of things that we could do in terms of helping out the BVI in a lot of different ways. Like, for instance, I don't understand why we in 2012 that we not invested in green waste management, where we would separate our waste and start having organic compost, which would turn into fertilizer, which could go to agriculture department, so that we could help subsidize the farmers, and because that's why they claim the food so high, because they have to spend so much money on fertilizers. Now, if we was actually separating our trash and having organic compost, then we could help them. The industries and government, if the departments would work together cohesively as a unit, but that in and of itself is a problem, because BVI landlords, we all stand together as a unit. That's why we're not going to get nowhere. We busy arguing with each other. This village don't like this village, this person don't like that person, this family don't talk to this family. And it's not helping in terms of the forward progression. What we need right now is for all leaders, no matter who they are, VIP, NDP, is to stand together as a body, united, inspire the people, and then lead them into the next century. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for people who just go argue amongst themselves. Yes, we hire you for that job, but what we need you to stand up as a leader and show good leadership. We haven't had a leader since Gladys Stone. I care what nobody somebody said we haven't had a good leader since Cavity Stone. He could have laid the video to hell and back and we would have followed him. But we don't have leaders now that we want to follow.
I see. So what do you think about my comment about the review process?
Oh, well, we need a review process. A lot of things need reviewing here in the BVI. We're the only country, I show, in most of the Caribbean where the government come up and choose to spend $25 million or dollars, and it's all dollars. That's one thing I think people have very confused. The government don't have no money. It's taxpayer dollars. They're going to get most of their money from. So if they go spend it, they need to be spending it on things that the people approve, not them sit down and solely decide where the money going. Because sometimes the priorities they place on projects is totally out of whack. As a former director of public works, you know when the bridge and the airport get built first before we end the horse race track, and then with the big foot and the hospital was last. And in my opinion, the hospital should have been first, then the airport and the bridge together, and then the horse race. Now somebody, if a plane crash up before Island, we got hospital, I got maybe 47 beds. We can't even begin to deal with that. We can't even triage the patients then.
All right, my dear, I take your point of view as your point of view. It's a solid point of view, I think. We're going to listen to some other people and hear what they have to say as well.
All right, thank you.
So thank you very much for your call. All right.
Well, I just hope that caller right there is working in government and keep bending their ears because the caller's right on point.
Yeah.
Caller has a lot of insight in a lot of different areas. He sounds like somebody has been active herself in many areas. And I agree with her on the whole garbage thing.
Yes.
You know, I remember about 3 years ago, I personally sent in a proposal.
Okay.
I did a little research online and looked at Toronto.
Yes.
And Toronto have one of the most amazing recyclable programs, a recycling program. And let me tell you, they recycle everything. They separate their trash. They have separate days for this, separate days for that. And what it did was they allow small entrepreneurs to create innovative business.
Yes.
You know, so government should be partnering with our garbage collectors, looking at ways where they can set up.
Could I just correct you a little bit?
Go ahead.
Waste managers.
Okay. Okay. You call it what you want to call it.
I know, but they manage waste. You
Yes.
know? It's a wide, to me, it's a little bit wider than that, right?
Yes.
And I totally agree with you, and I think that government should partner with these new ventures.
I think so.
And I would even go so far as to say, well, I know Canada is one of the cleanest countries that I've visited, in my travels, and also I would go right out now to say that some of the government partners, like the statutory boards, could take the lead, like the airport. I've been in the airport in Chicago, and you have 3 bins, one for paper, one for glass, and one for cans. And it's designed so that the shape of the hole on the top is so that only a bottle could fit in it. So you're automatically prompted to throw a bottle. And I think that those are small measures. Yeah. But if you start institutionalizing that type of behavior, people would catch on. And it's a gradual process. It's not going to happen overnight.
Well, it needs to be.
It needs to be started. You know, the people down in King Garden Bay with the recycling of the glass, they're doing a good job. They're doing an excellent job. They're producing products that are tourist related as well.
That's right.
And instead of garbage, they're managing. Right, what we would have called garbage, and they're actually turning it into a product.
And it's a really good product.
And it's a very good product.
It's reducing waste. It's reducing wear and tear on the incinerator.
Wear and tear on the incinerator, exactly. And then there's some other challenges in this area. The pallets, those wooden pallets. I was in Puerto Rico and a guy told me $5 for one of those pallets. You know what we do with those pallets here?
Throw them away.
No, man, we burn them.
Oh, same difference. Same difference.
We burn up $5
Every
a pallet
time, yeah.
every day, every week.
Well, in upstate New York, in Buffalo,
Yeah.
all the supermarkets have these machines. I was amazed when I saw the guy here with a water machine.
Yeah.
You have these machines where you take your cans and your bottles, you put them in the machine, they crush them, give you 5 cents back.
Yeah.
You know how many people do the grocery shopping on that?
Yes.
And then the guy who's collecting those cans and stuff, they sell them to companies like, Alcoa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To recycle and so forth. So
Yes.
I think there's a lot we could do, to help. Entrepreneurs should get out there. I mean, I'm not in the garbage collecting business or waste management business, but I wish I was.
But
Because there's a lot of money in it.
But it should be at least a government department that deals with waste
Well,
management.
isn't that what a solid waste is supposed to be?
Okay. Well, I will leave it at that because you've gone all the way to solid waste.
Well, let me say, Courtney, one of the things that's really touching me, and I had a good friend of mine, we talked a little bit about the whole labor issue. I know there was a big meeting up in East End last week, Thursday, and a good friend of mine was, I think he may have heard something or somebody may have told him something about what the minister may have said. And I went back and I reviewed some of the notes that I could find online.
Okay.
And I gotta say that I support the minister to some degree and a lot of what he was saying. The only suggestion I would make to the different representatives in the different areas and the community organizers in those different areas is that we should start organizing our own labor pool, creating our own workforce. You have a bunch of people in different areas in different communities that are looking for work.
Yes.
And they may be a potential employer in their area and they don't even know. So since I'm from the East, I'm going to talk about the East first. I would suggest to my good minister, Mr. Penn, and even Mr. Pickering, they should come together to the like YAP Center or even another location in East End.
The community center?
Well, or the community center.
Yeah.
They should have somebody staffed in there every day now. You get money to do that, staff in there. And what they should do is register every single business in those areas that could potentially hire somebody. And those businesses, when they do need somebody, will call the community center instead of keep going to the labor department, which is such a waste of time. Because I try to get workers in the labor department, and up to this day, I can't get nobody to call me back. You understand? Trying to start a new business. So it's a waste of time. So those people registered in those communities could be registered with that community center. The business owners will always call and say, hey, I need two people coming up. I got 2 positions maybe opening in another week. You could start rallying these people and getting these people together. You understand what I'm saying? So I think actively, proactively, the community them need to start doing more for themselves. And it could be done through the district offices.
Well, I make a comment a couple of times, and it's pretty much along the same line of what I'm usually saying. Know your district. And what I mean by know your district, I mean you must be intimate with your district. I mean every voter should be intimate with a district. You should know your district. You should know, just like you're saying, the type of businesses in your district, whether you have a post office, whether you have a school, whether you have a PTA, whether you have 5 representatives, 3 representatives, whether you have sewage running in the street. Know your district, really know and care about your district enough to make a difference. Know who is representing you in your district. Know which numbers you have to call. And be proactive. Good evening. You have reached Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, Courtney.
Yes, sir.
We have a labor department that needs restructuring. Start from the bottom to the top. We have some serious problems in there. Some racket going on in labor. And I hope Dr. Pickering, who in charge, settle it. We have a lot of people in the PPI isn't working.
I'm aware of that.
Left, the committee left. Can't find work. And every institution in the British Virgin Islands, you go in, you see full of Filipinos. Where they come from all of a sudden? We were at the PPI with Kittition and Tegan and Nivision. Since as a little boy. That's why we used to call them island people. Because when the captain them going down them islands, they used to say they're going down island. So that's where we get a habit from, island people. They used to come here on boat. We had no airport. They used to sail come here from Antigua, St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla. All of a sudden now, this country full of Filipinos. Full. The people who helped build our country in the Caribbean, they give them visa, they give them market upon to come here. But the Filipinos, every day you're seeing a Filipino in somebody else's institution working. That needs to stop. And Dr. Pickering need to put up brakes and work from it. Say, hey, you need 2 person, 3 person, put it on the radio station, advertise it on the radio, everybody can hear you. That's what had need to happen because we got a lot of cooking going on in this country.
Well, Carla, judging from what I've been hearing as well, the Minister of Education doing a survey of persons who sign up to get jobs and the fact that we're in a serious recession, I think that the whole issue of work permits and the issuing of it needs to be coordinated with all that information that has come in so far. If you have 200 and something people looking for jobs, obviously maybe that is an area where 200 and something work permits shouldn't be issued.
Yeah, it's a lot of cooking that's going on in that department. That department needs some racket going on there. I can't put my hand on it, but some racket going on. Because if you got so much of people walking about, ain't gonna work. Why you bringing more people?
Well, it's a follow the American syndrome, where in America what they do is they flood the market with labor, and you get much cheaper labor.
Yeah, but America killed itself by doing the same thing. Taking the jobs, send them to India, Czechoslovakia, Spain, and China for cheap labor. When they make the stuff and they come back to America, they still can't buy them because they don't want a job. So what's the difference? Keep your people employed.
Well, I hope our leaders are listening to you, because
that's what America killed itself with.
You're making a good point. You're making an economic point.
To all over, then when the stuff come back, you still can't buy them. No matter how cheap they is, because you don't have a job.
Well, Carla, let me ask you, what about the employers who are engaging in this behavior, who are willfully employing? I mean, they spend a lot of money to bring a Filipino here. To house them, they house them really cheap. You know, they save an extra $2 in profit. You know, the people are starting to live in poor condition. What do you say about those people who are doing that, who are engaging in that? When no government must do something, they have to step up.
Yes, because it's something wrong in labor department. People, I mean, I'm not a racist, but every time I go in by the Chinese place, I see a new face. Every day I go in there, I buy food, a new one. Yeah? What's going on in this country? Look, most of us, our father used to go to Santo Domingo, Aruba, and Curacao and work. In the 30s and the 40s and before that time. Tatuan left a lot of children in Santo Domingo. We used to go down there. Some died, they ain't come back. You only had to come back telling you whether my father was a 5 from Josiah's Bay, he was a this, he was that. And you can't tell the people them no, because a lot of us went down there. Our parents, you're giving them visa to come here, but the Filipinos flying in here like a set of board, wild board, and here's the rest in place. This got to stop.
Well, you have definitely view your opinion, and we are hoping that persons in position hearing you as well, and I'm pretty sure they'll do what they have to do.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
That's a very interesting one.
Yep, very interesting one. And on that note, I think too that, well, I'll come back to that, but we have another call here. Good evening, you have Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Good evening, Courtney.
Good evening.
Responding to the same caller that just spoke, I personally have learned to respect. I'm from here as well, okay? Let me make that clear.
Okay.
I respect what the person is saying. And we know that we have to put our BVI landers belongers first. And that is true. The Filipinos, yes, we might be saying they're coming here in droves, what we need to focus on is getting our people skilled, getting our people skilled and qualified. Because a number of the Filipinos, from what it looks like to me, they come here with different trades and skills that are probably in demand.
Okay.
And so when we have our own people trained and skilled, I believe they'll be able to compete and that no one will be able to take their place. And so that's where our focus needs to be. Of course, the people who employ them should really give preference to our people once they're there and they're qualified. And, the other aspect of the Filipinos that I've come to realize was when my daughter had a report to do once about she had to pick different people who have migrated among our culture.
Yes.
And have brought in their culture and how it has affected our culture. And when I come to the reality that the Filipinos are not persons who bring any kind of crime, they haven't really, you don't see them involved in crime. Isn't that so? Hardly ever you would see the Filipinos involved in the crime rate. So that's one positive effect they have had on the culture here. They haven't brought any negative, criminal behavior and all of that here, for sure.
Well,
and so
you would have to base that on the annual police statistics.
And we have a lot of news media out there. There's the online news, the local news, which all of us read, and I've been reading them just as much as anybody out there. Mm-hmm. Rarely you would see, if at all, anyone of a Filipino descent who is making a marked dent on the crime rate in the BVI.
Caller, can I say something real quick?
Yes, sir.
One thing I found, right, when the migrant population is small, you tend to find them more cooperative. You tend to find people more integrative. They integrate with your society. They want to be a part of what you're doing. They want to take on your culture. As the numbers get bigger,
they change.
Then quite naturally you change.
And that brings me to my other point and final point. Mm-hmm. There needs to be planned. We need to control the population in the BVI so that we never have too many immigrants from anywhere among us. In that we are overwhelmed. It's more people from the outside. Yes, everybody's free to migrate and to make a better living, for whatever reason, to make a livelihood in another country. But we need to control, as they talk about controlling the borders.
Yes.
So that is the key. That's one of the key things I think we need to focus on, and about getting our people skilled. Our people need to market themselves, make themselves marketable. You go there, you seize opportunities to train, to develop yourselves. If you haven't finished high school, you go to do the GD or alternative program, and then you keep going to the next level. Okay. The government can only do its part. The families, individuals have their own goals for themselves. And so that's my contribution to that matter.
Just before you go, though, because you touch on something that I always query as well, and that is, don't you think we should have a national plan of our human resources need on a yearly basis? We're graduating about 300 people every year from the high school, 300 people from the college. Don't you think we need to have a national plan of our needs, or human resources need on an annual basis? And don't you think if we did that, we would have those same trained people that you are saying that we don't have right now?
Yes, we do, because what we are seeing now is that a number of people are returning home and not being able to find jobs. And I find that interesting because, as you said, we have a plan. Normally when a person is going to study, a need would have been addressed. And you have the thing they call the study leave, where they look at the needs of the country. And so, of course, when you're going to study, then, you'll be permitted or more encouraged to study in a particular area because of the needs of the country and our needs here. So, as you say, if we have this plan, then there shouldn't be that you have so many people are graduating and not being able to have jobs, because I believe that plan will help to address this, because right now this is an issue we're facing here. And I personally have witnessed it.
All right, well, thank you very much for your input.
Privilege.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Sam, we've reached this point in the show where we're going to have to make way for the people that make the show possible. So we're going to have to take a break. We'll take a break and we'll be right back with you.
Hi, I am Tahisha Harrigan Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price point from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local Digicel numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbbi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
Yes, we're right back with you, right in your living room. And we got a text that said you need to find a way to get your text read there from the people. I suggest when you get break, you write them down more of the next on the pad and read from the pad. We've been trying all of that, texter, but it's still challenging. Hello, good night. I believe if some laws were to pass, if we elected persons to serve and they bad spend government's money, they should pay it out their pockets. Well, that law is already there, Carl. It's just the leadership to do it. The lady that advocated better methods is a breath of fresh air. Thanks for that as well. Anyone who speak the right thing, stand up for what is right, know what that are doing, that do not want that in government. I agree with the caller on the work permit. Also, your response, and you both are doing great. Thank you. Sam say doing great. Do you think that the work attitude of our people is right? Work attitude is something you have to you have to build on. A relationship between employer and employee is a very is a very dynamic thing, and you have to motivate the people to work. The people have to have good work ethics. The employer have to have good work ethics, and it's a relationship.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit challenging though for a lot of employers.
Yes.
You have people that want to work, but then they don't really have the right attitude.
Yeah, that's true. Good evening. You're free to speak your mind. Go right ahead, please.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Blessings to you guys. Good job.
Yeah, but you need to turn your television set down, please.
Sure.
Okay.
Just to recap on what the last caller was saying about expatriates. First, I have a question. When a BV Islander goes to the U.S., an indigenous BV Islander, that is, goes to the U.S., have the child down there, is that child an American citizen or a BVI citizen?
The child can have both nationalities.
Quite sure, I quite agree. But they can cannot say, because if I understand clearly, where you're born is where you're from.
But you know that we are also under the British. We're still under the British government as a territory, and as a result of that, there's a law in place that prevents that from happening.
That prevents that from happening.
Yes.
I have seen such a case, and that child has to get a belonger status.
Yes.
That's not, why not a BVI passport?
I think they're also entitled to a BVI passport, but it depends on the age of the child.
But Carla, Carla, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to bring something to your attention. I think it was a year ago in Arizona, in the United States. They also proposal now to change, I think it's the 14th Amendment. They're now considering a lot of people who come into the United States. Visa babies, they're referring them to as. People who are coming in pregnant 3 months, 2 months before they have their kids and having their kids in America. There was some strong proposal to change that because of that same behavior. Because they realize a lot of people now are utilizing the system, coming in and having their kids. And it's also one of the reasons why women, when they're like 2 months, I believe, before their pregnancy, they're not allowed to travel on planes because they don't. First, the airlines don't want the liability and the responsibility, and the system is analyzing why people are, coming into the country. And I hear what you're saying. I believe a child is born is where he's from, if it happens that way. The problem is that a lot of small societies, such as the BVI, and we're not the only one, try to protect, themselves by not having scrupulous people just come in the country and having kids and say that kids are born here to gain benefits, such as what some of us do in the U.S.
Okay. Well, I asked that question to say that a lot of the expatriates are these same children that have been born in the U.S. They have to fall on the expatriates, as far as I know. So they are into the problem.
Well, what I found here is a lot of the expats are actually born their kids right here. And a lot of us are running to the U.S. to have our kids in the U.S. and then expect to have their kids have rights in the BVI. I'm with you. Where you're born is where you're from. I think a child born in this country, especially to folks who are not from here, who are here contributing to the society and the growth of the country, their kids, if nothing else, should have travel documents. But you have to understand, even having a passport, the kids still don't have any rights because they can't file for themselves until they're of legal age. Legal age in this country, I believe, is 18. So if it's just for traveling, yeah, I agree with that. But the problem is a lot of people think, oh, well, my child is born here now, they're entitled to go to public school. My child is born here now. You here on bond. If you here on a work permit, I personally, this may be a little touchy to some people. I personally don't think if you're on work permit, you should be allowed to bring your family in, because a lot of people lie and say they don't have any family, and then a year later they bring in the kids. That is adding to the burden of the society. We can't afford all of that.
You made a point. So things like that the government need to talk to people about, instruct people on these matters, because these matters are just being left doom and dead, and people don't know what's going on.
But Carla, you're right on target when you say you need to talk to the people, because I think that this is the way we're going to resolve many of these issues, by talking.
Of course.
Transparency?
Okay.
Well, we're here talking about transparency all night and the white paper and all these things, and the only way we're going to get these things to some manageable situation is by talking about them.
Well, Carla, before you go, let me ask you, have you had a chance to go to any of the consultation meeting, maybe weigh in on the discussion with the white paper? Because this is the reason why they have a white paper, so you can give your opinion on situations such as this. Have you had a chance to go to any of the meetings?
No, I haven't.
Well, let me just do a little bit of advice. Call somebody and tell somebody. The next one that comes up, because what you're saying is important. I don't want to dismiss your position. You have a valid position. and it's worthwhile talking about it, but you have to bring people and go to these meetings and express those sentiments so that information could get back to the policymakers. You understand what I'm saying?
True.
So it's important that all of us take part in these discussions. I went to the one the other day, and I thought it was one of the best things I've been to. And I was very surprised and you know, a little disappointed that only a handful of people showed up, and here you are talking about where a child is born is where he's from. And I agree with that, but one voice can't carry the whole throne, and you got to come out.
But at the same time, we don't do a good job on publicizing these meetings.
I agree there. That's
I never did hear of any.
It was short notice because I heard about it very short, and I agree that's one of the problems we have in this country. In every department, every government agency, my partner here going to talk about government website. It hasn't been working in 4 years, and this is the information source that you and I should be getting all information from when it relates to government matter.
That's right.
So let's talk about it. Call somebody else and tell them to speak out about it, because that's important. The politicians are listening, they're watching. So the more people talk about their problems and their ills, the more hopefully we'll get some policy made.
All right, brother. Blessings.
But thank you very much for your call. It's been, you know, you made a serious speak your mind moment.
Of course, man. You gotta talk. You gotta talk out. That's the only way you're gonna get anything achieved. Speak your mind. That's what the show is all about. Speak your mind. Nobody can hurt you.
Thank
Speak
you.
in your mind.
Thank you.
Even if we don't agree, you still speak your mind.
Yeah.
There you go.
The website I was talking about is www.bvigovernment.gov.vg. I've been to this. I tried it up to this week, and I haven't been able to get onto it. And I know it is supposed to be the government portal where you can get to all the other government sites. And you know, I'm making a plea. Let's get up and running, and let's get the information out there so our people can follow what's going on and be a part of the government system.
That's correct. At the same time, we should not be biased. We should speak the truth always.
That's correct.
As a politician, the speak the truth. The honorable. Anyway, give thanks, guys. You're doing a good job. Keep it
Thank you.
All right. Thank
Keep
you very
calling,
much.
keep watching.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Bless.
All right. We have another caller. Put a call through, please. Yes, good evening. You're speaking your mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yo. Happy New Year's, guys.
Same to you.
I totally agree with you guys, you know, especially, I mean, I totally agree with you guys. You know what the problem is with this situation? Look how long this law passed that if you get your child here in the BVI, if you're an expat, is not told until it becomes the year of 18. They know the law, they're still getting pregnant in the BVI, so we put the blame on the BVI landlord. They ain't nothing to do with me. When England says something, that we try to change the anti-man law, we ain't get to change. So what the problem is?
I wasn't going to go there, but since you gone there,
there ain't nothing we can do about it. We try our best. We fight the white paper business. You try your best. We ain't got thing to do about that. So I don't got a problem with that. If you don't want your child to get caught up in that situation, go home and get your child. Now don't get pregnant.
Once
that's all it is. No disrespect to foreigners.
Once you start speaking about imperial legislation, which is legislation passed in the UK, we our hands are tied. Our politicians' hands are tied. There's nothing you can do about it.
We got bigger problems with SART. Now, ourselves in the UK, and you know, next thing want to kill me. It's time for the migration to shut down the borders, you know. I don't know why the politicians don't stop. Politicians like preachers to me. They're good talkers. They're just in there for what they can get. We all know that. But at the same time, it's time to work for the BVI, man. We getting killed in the BVI. We don't put this bad thing killing us. It's time to shut down the borders, work on people who here. No disrespect to those folks who here.
Okay.
It's up to them. They've been here at that time. He's still contributing. Work with mile and a half, maybe. So I could say one from here, one from the other side.
Okay.
Well, Carla, before you go, you and I sit in the same boat. You know, so I respect expats, I respect Long Island people, I respect BVI landers, I respect everybody. But the law of the land is the law of the land. And again, maybe government needs to start giving people a booklet when they come in on work permit, what's available, what's your rights, what you don't have rights to, and that way you can make an informed decision as to whether or not this is a country you want to be in. You know, I know a guy personally has 2 kids in the BVI. He's from Jamaica, and I remember hearing this guy screaming, "Oh, them from here," and they want him to go. He gonna leave the kids them here. They're your responsibility. Until they age 18, they're yours. So where you go, they go. If they from here, they stay here. If they ain't from here, they have to go.
Let me put it a little further. I had 1 or 2 employees back in the past. No, the love past while they're here working for me. They get pregnant, and they're stressed it. My baby's on here and I can't get past. And they're, you know, looking for me for some kind of resources. Like, boo, before you get pregnant, you didn't know what allowance? I mean, come on. You knew what you were doing before you did it. Why trust that? Go to the TV conference and see if we can change it then. Because we can't do nothing about it. That's all I gotta say. There's no disrespect to no foreign person. I never call a person an island person in my life. Never in my life call a person an island person, because we all one. But at the end of the day, they're protecting the country. Jamaicans got power with the Haitians, them. All the other countries got power with different people coming in, working in the country for nothing and doing this and undermining them. Why we can't do the same for our little small country? There's only so much we can do, man. Come on. There's opportunity to stop being scared and do what I got to do for people. I ain't got a problem with the 4 year, you know. That thing works for 3, 4 years. I can kick them out. I ain't got a problem with that. I don't want nobody got to sit up in here for 7 years, 20 years, 15 years, and they want to belong on top. That's crap. We can't get to do nowhere else in the world. I've been in a particular country. I had a little job on my college course, the attachment. I had a big problem there because I was doing such a good job that the boss man decided to pay me a fee. The company decided to give me a fee. When the business found out I was getting a salary, this is big as theirs, they wanted to kill me, brother. So what's the problem? I need to cut out, man. Not disrespecting none. I have one love to everybody, but every country got to look out for their own. And we sure ain't doing a good job at the BPI. We're the only country whenever we pass a law that the founders don't seem to agree with, we get bad mind for it. The doctor on this is all that. The doctor on that. That's all we got to stand by. We're our doctor. That's all we got.
Yeah, but Carla, just to be... Carla, just...
17, come on, man.
Just to be fair, though, again, information that people need when they come into a country is always tucked away in some book. You know, you go to labor should have a guide. You know, you go to immigration, there should be a guide. Policies, what are the policies that govern my immigration in this country? What are the policies that govern my employment in this country? Those are problems, practical problems that are in this country that we need to fix. You understand what I'm saying? And it'll help the migration.
You know, it's that right on immigration. As soon as I come in the country, I have been in the line several times. Of course, yes, we know most of the Caribbean foreigners, they come to the BVI, yeah, they call it a vacation. But at the end of the day, we know they're looking for jobs. Fine. But I've seen where we have white and black. No disrespect to the white folks either. There's one love for everybody. But I've seen white folks go up there and make jokes with the immigration officer, they're laughing. The black people in the line behind, the Caribbean people in the line behind me, so the black Caribbean people, they're so scared. They're frightened. They can't make a joke with immigration. They're ready to kick them out. No. We have laws in place. You get the person the limited time that they're supposed to get. If they get caught doing what they're not supposed to do, well, then you deal with that. But they need to be up right there at immigration. Show that smile that we get from everybody else when we travel. Treat the people like that. Come on. We got some serious problems on immigration. We got women attacking like they own the country. We got men attacking like they own the country. Let the people where they live. Prostitutes, drug dealers, preachers, everybody got to say them right now. They need to cut that crap out.
Thank you, Carla.
A friend come to me from the country. She ain't a stripper. She ain't a whore. She's a lawyer. She came to say hi. She used my name to come in the country because she's coming to say hi. There's no one wrong. She got stressed at the airport. What kind of nonsense is that? Then the Carla said that the one right there, it's a Christian. She follows. Don't be wrong.
Carla, I know you're getting a little walked up there, but you're right on target. We need to have that straight front. That first contact that people get at the immigration.
But that's totally wrong. We don't get a kind of treatment from nobody when we travel. And we get a little problem sometimes with immigration, depending on how we present ourselves or being deal with the
and it should.
However, right. But this is the most stressful. This is what's in Puerto Rico. I have seen people from all over the world, politicians from all over the world, when they get to Puerto Rico and put the triple.
Yeah.
But we're in the same position.
Yeah.
That ain't right, man. Come on, get the people that the given time that are supposed to get, and if they're screwed up, when you deal with them, you got to stuff on record. I would take the database up to date nowadays.
Yeah.
So, log it.
Okay.
Thank you, Carla. We're gonna catch the next one online because
Thank you very much, though. We're gonna go
There's a
to
lot of things that were wrong, but it's just not me. And
call back, man. Call back. Don't worry.
Call us
Call
back.
back.
All right, guys. Take it
Okay.
easy.
All right. Yeah, Sam. We have another call. Put a call through, please.
Carla's passionate.
Very much.
passionate.
Very much. Yeah. Good evening. You're free speaking mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening. I'm calling to comment about the same law. Well, I have problems with the law in and of itself. The British Nationality Act of 1982.
That's the one.
It's a very funny law because there's many different parts to it. Like, for instance, it takes on the slavery mind thinking where possession and ownership comes directly from your mother and not your father. So
That's true. That's
you
true.
have the island of men, right, who have children with women who are expats. And because they're not married to these women, and these kids born after 1982, all government wants to dictate to these men that these children cannot be from the BVI, even if they're born here. And these children would have to go through a process very much like naturalization, but they call it registration instead. They get the same kind of certificate, it looks the same way, it's signed by the Queen and everything, just like everybody else owns. And it's really unfair because the same BVI Islander man can marry a woman from Jamaica tomorrow, and she could have 6 children that don't belong to him, and they reach before Ireland, they have status, or they reach Western, whichever port them come through, they have status. But you have kids born in the country to one parent being a BVI Islander, and that father can't do nothing to gain status for his children until they turn a certain age. So the law is really funny because it dictates a lot of things past where you can't really have no control of. You know, you can't control where your father marry your mother, so you shouldn't be told that you're not a BVI Islander because your mother and father wasn't married at the time they had you, even though you born here. Because it's funny too, because you can have people who born here, the train born away, and those kids away, they get the longer status quicker than train who born here. Then you have the other side of the argument now where people who are third, fourth generation way outside the BVI, and because they could claim my grandmother, my grandfather born here, and they shop here, and immigration and passport office give them status, and these people have nothing to do with the country. We're here when the people who help build the country drive, sweat, blood, sweat, and tears, but now that the BVI is something, they want to come back and pay their piece of the something that they didn't even know about, and they want to have more rights than people who were here. And it's really funny. I mean, while it is an imperial land, it comes from the Queen, we do have an ability to exercise a certain amount of judgment in enforcing the law. Because if you're born in the Cayman Islands, or you're born in Anguilla, or you're born in any of the other overseas dependent territories, it is not as bad. We are the only overseas territory that enforces that law the way it is. Even if you're born in the UK, they don't give you half the amount of trouble that the BVI government gives you. Mine, they will exercise the same amount of rights and pull them back and send you home when they get mad with you. But we enforce it even more than the Crown. Way more than the Crown. Way more than the Crown.
You said we're more British than the British?
Yes, ma'am. We're more British than the British, by far. Because if you're born, I know a number of people who are born in America, but they have some kind of UK heritage, and the UK gave them documents, no problem. Come to the BVI now, where they actually born and where they not born, but where they actually were raised, and you can't get a document for him, but they have a UK passport.
I see.
Carla, I think it's important that somebody like yourself should get with other people and come to these white paper discussion, because this is the reason why they have this white paper discussion. So we can answer these questions that they have, and some of these questions, these comments that you're making right now, there's questions that associate with those same comments, and you can pose your comments and pose your views as to why these things should change. I'm a firm believer that where you're born is where you're from, but again, until a child is 18 years old, he can't claim himself. So it's a win-win situation for everybody, but again, the information that needs to come out, that people need to be aware of, it's not there. It's not available where you can just go pick it up, and that's probably part of the confusion.
Well, I do know that's part of the issue, but like I said, it's a funny act, and we really need to sit down with the powers that be and address certain things. Like, for instance, I'm born in 1983. My father from here, my father is from here, and my father had to go through all kind of trouble to get us, get our documents and get us straightened. But I am just one of many, because my father had quite a number of children. But I'm just one of many. I'm not the only one who suffers from this, and it's really a funny thing. It's like they're trying to tell you, like I said, they're holding up to the slavery law, which is ownership.
Yes.
Goes to the mother. That's it.
Okay, well, you're making a very strong point, and I think I'm going to join with Sam and say that you really should attend these meetings and write your papers and do all the other things that are necessary to bring this information forward so that it could be properly addressed, because it is an important thing and it's not going to go away by just talking about it. I think we have to make some action to get it in the right perspective.
You think when these laws were made by women?
I don't think so. No, but
why the power goes to a woman and not a man?
Well, that's a other longer story, because we're going to have to take a break. But she's treading right now on another law that has to do with legitimacy, and we have a serious problem with our legitimacy law here as well, which is affecting a lot of people, and we're trying our best to talk about it and try to get it changed. So we're going to take a break now for the companies that make this show possible, and we'll be right back with you.
Hi, I am Tanisha Harrigan Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price plan from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local Digicel numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbbi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
Yes, we're right back with you. I'm going to try to get to a number of the text real quickly. If British Virgin Islanders don't want the minimum wage jobs, then they should let the education be on them. So text that came in. I said, I would like to make a few comments. One, why would we increase the runway at Beef Island Airport if flights are down by American Airlines, etc.? That's a question. Another text that came. Number two, why don't develop and use Long Bay Beef Island for tourism, as King Garden Bay is insane? Everyone is complaining. Sam, that's something that's
a nice one.
Yeah.
Thanks for that text. That's important. The premier said this week that Brandy Weinberg will be used as an activity beach, but we haven't heard anything about other development areas such as Beef Island.
Yeah, text that came and said the racist white folks who hold the top positions in the BVI do not like British Virgin Islanders should be sorted out and sent back to where they came from. So a comment, one of the texts that came in. There's a law, if people come here to the BVI on work permit and they become pregnant, they should be deported. It's a question. This will solve a lot of these problems if we make every expat child a British Virgin Islands citizen. Then what will happen to the indigenous Virgin Islanders? I guess that's another one, Sam, that should attend these meetings with the
come out to the meetings.
Come out to the meetings and voice your opinion. I see a text here about my main supporter, and I would like them to continue to be our main supporter. The number 3 question says, golf course in the BVI will not increase tourism by no substantial amount. The environmental concern outweighs the benefits. So a text that came in as well. It said, tell the caller to go to the passport office and buy a nationality act and read it. The British Nationality Act is something that we've been, working with here for a number of years, and it is imperial legislation, and there is a way to change imperial legislation. Of course, you have to go back to the UK, to the people who make the legislation, and lobby them to get them to change it. We don't have any representation in the United Kingdom legislature. We have our own legislature here, but we don't have any representation at that level. Our relationship with the UK government is through the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. We have a call. We're going to go to the call. Good evening. You're free to speak your mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, Tony.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sam.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah. I didn't lament about the meeting some days ago. I didn't lament about the medallion.
There's a taxi question?
There's a number of people that raised that issue. I heard the comments about it. From what I've known, the medallion system works well in our neighbor in St. Thomas, and I think it's something. But there again, we need to talk about these things. Would you say that the majority, about 300 or 400 taxi drivers, would be in favor of the medallion system?
Yes, it's a thing that, it's thing in St. Thomas.
Yes, it is.
And we're working on this thing with Mr. Christopher.
Yes.
McClevity, the guy from St. Thomas.
Yes.
He bring all the documents, put them on the table. Nobody think Mr. Christopher went out. Mr. Fraser come in. Mr. Watley come in. And it's still there. 11 years after now, trying to get something going.
Well, bring it up to Honorable Mac. Bring it up to Honorable Mac and start afresh. Sometimes it's the persistence. Sometimes you just have to persevere.
Carla.
But you see, hello.
I don't want you to hate me, right? But I am in favor partially with the medallion system. I did a little homework 3 years ago, when I was lobbying the last Minister of Communication. I worked to try to get some good enforcement in place. And I looked at New York system, New York medallion system. And I find that it could be also just as bad as what we got now, if it ain't thoughtfully, carefully, put in place. And it should be only, in my opinion, only for the retiring, long-serving taxi operators in this country, to give them a sense of investment. Otherwise, if you just bring a medallion in because everybody else doing it, and everybody could get 2 or 3 medallion and then go out and have all kinds of people here running around wild and then flooding the market, I'm not in favor of it.
And selling them.
I'm in favor of it if it's structured. It's for guys such as yourself, people who put 30, 40 years, who helped build a taxi industry, because I'm eliminating myself. People who put time and effort into this, yes, I'm in favor of something like that. But otherwise, I'm not in favor of it.
I agree with you 100%. But then you see, you need something in thing when people retire.
But as Sam was speaking, we even have some taxi drivers here who don't work anymore, and who a system like this would provide a solid income for them.
Well, I was one of the first man open a taxi stand in the Tola. Boy, is it?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
what I see.
but yourself, I was thinking about.
And after it come to something, one of the man was said on the cruise ship that in the meeting that we our own enemy. He's one the man out trying to kill me. One said we're our own enemy. The next one says it's all about dollars. So we ain't going nowhere. We're just going backward.
Yeah.
If you take a place like Bobby Place and Rice there, right?
Yes.
They got delivery man delivering stuff. He take a load of stuff to a yacht and Nanny P get $20 for him. The taxi driver going, he make $20. He got to buy gas. He got to buy this. This man ain't got to buy nothing.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, this man do 5 delivery. He make $100. He take off. You can't even got to buy no gas. He still getting a salary from his boss.
He's ahead.
And it's
And
also
the way they're trying to kill one another,
And
and
it's
they're
al-
looking at the real shop side of things.
and Carla, you're forgetting one other part. You know, it's also tax free.
All right. All right.
It's nice to hear your voice, man. I can't see your face, but I can hear the voice. It's been a long time. Happy New Year.
Same to you, man. I listen to you a lot. I listen to you a lot. You know. I'm glad the chief of court is sitting there now.
All right, buddy. We're running a tight show, so we run.
Call us back sooner, man, next week.
Call us
God's
back.
willing.
Okay, take care then.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a good caller right there.
That's a good call. I think we really need to look at a medallion system and look at ways to tighten the legislation,
That's
the proposed legislation, and have a new approach to the ministry.
Yes.
And involve all the people involved.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm with the caller.
Yeah.
You know, people like such as himself, it'd be awesome to have someone like that in place.
Yeah.
Because again, it gives even a young person who might be disabled, but you know what I'm saying, they would qualify.
Yes.
You really have to sit down and go through the right process and make sure this thing is put in place properly. Otherwise, you're going to end up flooding the market. You're going to get a bunch of greedy guys out here that can afford 6 and 7 vehicles. Next thing you know, they got 6 and 7 medallions out here competing against a legitimate bona fide taxi operator. So I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah. We're going to have to wrap up the show, though. We had such a good time, Sam, that all good things has come to an end at some point, right? So we're going to have to do a quick wrap up of the show, and we'll have to do that quickly. So we had a pretty good introduction. We spoke a little bit about the budget speech, and we were able to get in some thoughts on the white paper, and we had some calls that had questions or positions that, in your and my opinion, in some instances, reflect on some involvement in that same white paper, and we encourage persons as much as possible to be active, be proactive, and become a part of the white paper discussion before it gets to the point where it's actually written in stone. We talked about the government cuts as the government continue to try to meet the needs of the community and at the same time stay with a balanced budget. It's a act of trying to stay solvent, where you have to have your debits and your credits and make sure that you're still solvent. And it is a challenge in any country, but you see the government had put some measures in place to do that. Some questions came up, of course, about the British Nationality Act, and we dealt with those. I had down here something to talk about, which I never got a chance to talk about, was the road to Harrigan. Remind me next time we're going to make mention of that. The fact that it has been blocked now for the last 4 years, maybe 5 years, I think it is. We talk about the guts and the black guts. I had Heso down here to mention as well. We're going to take this last call. Yeah, good evening. If you speak your mind, go ahead, please.
Hey, good night, Courtney. Sam, what's up?
Good night.
All right.
I'm good.
I was supposed to call you much earlier and everything, but I had problems getting it. I don't know what was the reason. But anyway, I had a friend of mine who came by me just yesterday, and I really felt it for this brother, because this brother is affected by some system they have put in place whereby he's telling me that his driver's license expired and he hasn't been able to get his work permit. He put in his work permit 2 months before for it to be processed.
I know there's a...
Now they're telling him the time is run out, he must go back to immigration and get some time because he's out the time. And yet his driver license is expired. He has to take around his old lady to the hospital, to the doctor. He has to take his wife and children to school. He has to go to the supermarket, laundry, and he cannot drive. Now, I don't know if you guys heard about this policy that was put in place where a driver license expires with, with a work permit. I mean, it's something sick in my opinion. How could you do this kind of injustice to people? The man cannot drive, he had to park up his car. Who takes his family to church? Who takes his family to the supermarket? How could we ever, as intelligent people, come up with these kind of ideas? I mean, it beats me. It really hurts me. The guy is in pain because the guy say he cannot believe in a civilized world something like this will happen. Anyway, I'm going to head up and you can make a small comment on that, please.
All right, thank you, caller. I think he missed one part of it as well. When you go to renew your driver's license, you need to walk with your passport as well. I don't, you probably don't know about that too, Sam. But
oh, I do.
Oh, you do?
I never had the experience of it but I've been around people.
Yeah, you have to walk with a valid form of ID that's acceptable to the DMV, and it may very well be a passport. Anyways, but what the caller is describing is something that I have heard other persons complain about as well, and it is that your driver's license is tied to your stay in the country. So if your work permit is for 1 year, then you only could get a driver's license for 1 year. Now, you know, that law was put in place, and I think, you know, it's very hard on the actual running of the operation to me, you know, because of the way how people organize themselves. And I think it might be a shortfall in revenue, because if you buy a license for 1 year, you're losing the opportunity to buy one for 3 years, which would be more revenue for the government. You know, that's not rocket science. That's just mathematics, right? Then there's also the other issue of you know, the logistics of getting time from immigration, right? Getting a work permit, and at the same time getting your license. So those three things are not really you know, symbiotic. They don't happen one after the other. You can wait, and you could have to wait a length of time to get a work permit, or a length of time to get time in your passport.
Well, all I can say, Courtney, is the people who are responsible for that will have to explain to me why, how do they work hand in hand, and what would be the mentality behind it? Because to me personally, it doesn't make much sense. I mean, our 2 shows 2 weeks ago, a lady met me inside Bobby's, and that was her main concern and complaint. So it needs to be addressed, and people need to look at it.
Yeah, I think so as well. So we're continuing to wrap up. I was planning to talk to about the 2010 census, and we still haven't gotten. So if anyone from government who's, you know, listening to us, I think they could at least make a news release or say something about the census. The last census took us 9 years to get it, so we don't want to wait such a long time. Some of us are dying to use the information, and you know, the solid waste came up. The solid waste, the green technology, and the opportunities for people to get involved in this new area and make some money out of it, and for the government to partnership with these people. Those are opportunities, and any opportunity for entrepreneurship in this hard economic time should be welcomed to help, you know, boost the economy. Because right now we need a lot of boosting of the economy. I think we got something that came into about town country planning and how long it takes for an application to get restated, since, you know, an application that was in place and the time ran out, and it's time. And I agree with the person that called, that we need to look at, especially in this hard economic time now, maybe we need to put measures like those in place to streamline that kind of process, so that it's a transparent and quick process, so that we could get some construction going and get the economy going. So Sam, all in all, we had a wonderful show. I enjoyed myself. I hope you did the same.
Yeah, well, Courtney, I just want to say before we go, 2 things that really I want to emphasize.
Okay.
Is folks, coming up, there's a workshop going on at the college, I think, for the youth empowerment.
Yes.
It's a labor issue again. You know, encourage your kids to get out there. The kids who are already registered, I think, should be some of the first people out there. But labor is a big issue in this country, and we got to first try to employ our own people. No matter what we have to do, we got to first employ our own people. We got to get rid of all the scrupulous behavior by some employers, especially the ones that are not locally owned, that are, you know, putting these fake ads in the paper to try to hire people that they want to hire and bring in. They should be reinvesting in training and education in these same businesses that they're trying to bring people in to do. And we, the ministers, them have to protect our people at all costs. And the next thing I want to say, in 1999, 2000 people, we got a UK passport. British BVI Islander citizens got a UK passport. We got that UK passport because we were part of the discussion, the white paper discussion that came out at that time. If you're not part of the discussion, you can't complain afterwards. So get out there. If there's meetings, go to the meetings. Write down your questions or your whatever concerns you have, and wage in on those discussions. That's how you bring about change. So you got to be a part of it. So those two things I really emphasize this week, and you know, going forward, get out there, be a part. You know, call in. You know, write in, whatever you have to do. You see a minister, write down your situation and hand it to them on paper, because anything on paper can stick. So, you know, let's hold them accountable.
Yeah. Well, definitely, you know, be a part of the change, not just speak about the change, but be an actual part of the change. I agree with you, Sam. One of the things that came up as well was the proper management of some of these tourist sites, and I hope that by what we discussed, that some new tourist sites will be open. And on that note, Sam, I'm going. You if that's your last.
I think it was fruitful.
There you go.
I think it was fruitful, folks. Next week, please tune in. Tell somebody to tune in. They can, you know, you can hit us up on the World Wide Web, www.jtvlive.net. And if you want to, you know, continue watching the show, you know, send us a little contribution. You know, call the management of the station. They'll be happy to hear from you. If you want us to, you know, bring some attention and awareness to your business, we can help you do that too. So, you know, call us, let us know what you need. And we want to be a part of the community. If you have a concern, something you want us to really focus on, hit the show up. Speak your mind.
And of course, this show is the people's show, and we enjoy bringing the issues to the people. On that note, I'd like to say, you know, good night to the people of these Virgin Islands, these beautiful Virgin Islands, and God bless these Virgin Islands and the people that live in them.